And welcome back, yet again adventurers, to Let's Play Steins Zero. In the last episode, Kagari decided to travel back with Hououin back to the past, in the hopes of reawakening Hououin Kyouma from the ashes of the past. And thus we reached the fourth ending of Steins Zero. But the events of that particular world line have now been nullified because, thanks to the time leap machine that personally developed by me, we are now back on the 15th of January 2011. The phone is ringing. Stratfor about to invade the Future Gadget Laboratory to gain hold of Kagari, and Hououin is prepared for battle. Now, we want to do something different this time. We actually want to respond to the phone right away. Because, well, this phone call is necessary for Kagari to not only get her own memories back, but to separate herself from Kurisu Makase's memories. Because, if you remember, Maho and Daru have been busy setting up the memory leap machine, as I've chosen to call it. And this is absolutely necessary to saving Kagari life, and indeed her very existence. We want to answer right away. And then we want to give this to Kagari as soon as possible, because she needs those memories back. The phone I pressed against Kagari's head stopped ringing, and in that moment, the worldline changed. Last time we hesitated, and it led to a completely different outcome. But this time, we won't hesitate. What's the divergence this time? Oh. Well, we don't know because we can't see what that divergence is. Because something has happened. Something completely unexpected. Something that we have never experienced before. I was inside a deep black darkness. There was no sound. No temperature. Just darkness, cold and silence. I think it's safe to say we're not in the lab anymore. No one was here. I didn't even know if I was awake or asleep or awake. There was nothing but a vague sense of presence. Nothingness. Nothingness spreading out to infinity. And yet for some reason we're still here in the Future Gadget Lab, it seems. And yet the world line did change, but unfortunately, well, we couldn't really see what divergence percentage we'd reached. Not that Rintaro would know, because he doesn't have the divergence meter on him whatsoever. Huh? What was I doing? Wasn't I...
ちょっと岡部、いつまでもそんなところで寝てると風邪ひくわよ。
Wait a minute. I know that voice. I know that tone. It can't be. It shouldn't be. It mustn't be. I turn towards the voice that can only mean one thing. Standing there next to the open curtains of the development room was... Oh no.
何よ。
Please no. It can't be. Ladies and gentlemen, adventurers, Kurisu Makase stands before us yet again. And her presence can only mean one thing. The unthinkable has happened. We're back on the Alpha World line again. The very thing that she warned us against last time has unfolded. That is a worst case scenario.
なんだ、クリス、いたのか。
I think Rintaro is so shocked by Kurisu's presence that he's hiding it for a moment. Uh-oh. Next chapter. The promised Renacimento. Renacimento.
いたのかとはずいぶんご挨拶だな。さっきからずっとここにいたじゃない。
From your perspective, maybe, Kurisu, but that there begs the question. Why are you here? Why are we here?
そうだったか。
And why isn't Rintaro surprised by this?
そうよ。昨日も一昨日もずっとここにいたわよ。
It did seem that way, come to think of it. My head seemed like it was full of fuzz. But I wasn't sleepy or tired or anything like that. My mind was very awake. Indeed it is. But something was missing. Something important. Something we have to remember right now.
そういえば、ダルやマユリはどうした？
Yeah, that's right. Well, I'm not so much worried about Daru as I am about Mayuri.
あんた、本当に大丈夫？何か不具合でもあったんじゃない？
In a manner of speaking, the last thing I knew, we were about to be taken hostage by a bunch of fully armed Stratfor military agents, and then this happened.
どういう意味だ？
And also, wasn't the whole purpose to get Kagari's memories free from Kurisu Makase's memories? Why is this outcome unfolded?
橋田もまゆりも。ほら、そこにいるじゃない。
Wait a minute. Daru and Mayuri.
え？
That shouldn't be possible. What the?
おかりん、てってれー。
Mayuri Shina and Kurisu Makase are in the same room together. Either we're at a point in the Alpha World line before Mayuri Shina's death, or Worldline Convergence was having a laugh at us this entire time.
僕のこの大きすぎる存在感を見落としてるなんてどうかしてるぜ、オカリン。
Nobody could miss somebody as big as you, Daru. But what? How? Why? I have so many questions right now. And yet, another question on top of that is, why isn't Rintaro even surprised by all this? Oh, that's right. Daru and Mayuri were always here, weren't they? Something's happened. No, it wasn't just them. Ruka and Ferris. What are they doing here?
今日な、元気がないにゃ。フェイリスの萌え萌えチャームで元気を取り戻すんだにゃ。
Wait a minute. Ferris just called Rintaro Kyouma. I don't even know what's going on anymore.
京馬さん、僕にできることがあったら何でも言ってくださいね。
Hououin Kyouma has been consigned to the dark past. Ferris and Rukuko too. And... Yep.
岡部倫太郎のためにその辺の食べられそうな草で私が特別ジュース作ってあげるよ。
If Kurisu's presence together with Mayuri wasn't an indication that we were currently on the Alpha World line, yeah, this is Suzuha Mane, but not the Beta World line Suzuha Mane. This is the Alpha World line Suzuha Amane. Her hair is different, her clothes are different, and even her personality is a complete 180 from her personality of her Beta Worldline counterpart. And this is Moeka Kiryu, also known as Shining Finger.
私もいるよ、岡部君。
Suzuha Moeka, Ferris and Rukuko, Daru, Mayuri and Kurisu. All of the lab members were here in the lab, like they were always. Members 001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All 8. But how? That's right. This was my daily life. This was how I spent every day. Either we're in a coma somehow, or...
ふむ。全員いるようだな。
All 8 lab members. 001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or was... wait. Was Ferris 6 or was Ruko 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Maybe 6, maybe 7, definitely 8. I know Suzuha was the final member. But Rintaro's way of speaking...
ただいまより第65536回目の円卓会議を行う。お前たち準備はいいか？
Of course, Rintaro appears to no longer be wearing his usual casual clothes. In fact, he's dressed rather unkempt looking with a rather scraggly looking lab coat. And I know that pretentious style of dialect from a mile away. Because the man you see before you right now is not Rintaro Okabe at all. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you the insane mad scientist, Hououin Kyouma.
まったく、いつも暑苦しいわね。
お前こそいい加減そのおすましフェイスはやめるんだな、常習。
Indeed, Only Hououin Kyouma would dare call Kurisu Makase his assistant.
だから私はあんたの助手になった覚えはないと言ったろうが。
And yet, this worldline cannot simply exist. It is a fundamental impossibility.
オカリンとクリスちゃんはいつも仲良しだね。
Or maybe our synapses are misfiring and this is some sort of hallucinatory coma or
イチャ
something.
イチャしやがってリア充爆発しろ。
ちょっと橋田、私がいつこいつとイチャイチャしたって言うのよ。
仲がいいほど喧嘩するって言うにゃ。羨ましいです。漆原ルカも一緒にイチャイチャすればいいじゃん。ダメです。僕にはそんなことできません。イチャイチャ。
I'm not afraid to admit this, adventurers, but I am totally lost at this point.
ねえお前たち、いつまで無駄話をしている。さっさと会議を始めるぞ。
And there is the quintessential Dr. Pepper in the hand of Hououin Kyouma. Is this real? Or is this just... I don't even know anymore.
今日の議題は何なんだ。
そんなものは決まっている。今日の議題は
Or is this a memory from another time? Today's topic is what?
議題は
岡部？
Something was wrong. Something is definitely wrong here.
オカリン？
Everything seemed the same, but
どうしたんオカリン。
that's right. It was cold.
今日も？
Indeed. For some reason, it seems like it's... Everyone's dressed in their summer garb. But it's supposed to be the 15th of January. In other words, winter time in Japan. I didn't feel it.
京馬さん。
No emotions.
岡部倫太郎？
No warmth.
岡部君。
Everyone was here. But it was cold and dark. Cold. Cold.
岡部君。
I'm not going to repeat that over and over again, so I will just summarize as this is very cold.
岡部倫太郎。
It was so cold it felt like the marrow of my bones was going to freeze.
京馬さん。
Like my bones were made of ice.
京馬。
Like all the blood in my body had been replaced with mercury. Yeah, this is different from reading Steiner. This is very different from reading Steiner.
オカリン。
In other words, it was cold. It felt like I was going to freeze at any moment. What was this?
オカリン。
Where was this place? Where was I?
岡部。
I was somewhere, apparently. White noise? 0.55821. I wonder if that worldline divergence percentage has significance. But we're awake. But this definitely doesn't look like the future gadget lab. At all. Where? We're definitely somewhere. That's for sure. Where was I? In a very cold place. What was I doing? I wonder. I tried to speak, but the words didn't come out. It looked like I was lying on a bed. And a very hard one at that. I slowly looked around. It wasn't the lab, and it wasn't my room. The room was old and gloomy. Of course, I'd never seen it before. What was I doing here? In pain, obviously. There was a terrible pain in my head, like someone had jammed an electrode into my brain. I think Kurisu threatened to do that whenever she got incredibly upset with Hououin Kyouma. But we're not Hououin Kyouma. We are Rintaro Okabe. I tried to raise my hand as I lay there, but it was too heavy. It was like all the joints in my body had frozen. This is not good. This is less than good. It took all of my strength to slowly sit up. Each time I moved a little, my muscles screamed and pain ran through my whole body. After several minutes, I finally succeeded in sitting on the edge of the bed and looking down. I realized I was wearing a white gown, like hospital patients wear. Oh no. Please no. There was some kind of equipment on my head, and the cables coming out of it were connected to a strange machine. What had happened to me? Given the fact that I currently recall what happened on a certain worldline, I can guess. Just a moment ago I was... That's right, Kagari. Kurisu's memories have been downloaded into Kagari's head. We tried to erase them by overwriting them with Kagari's own memories. And then... That's right, I remembered now. The worldline had shifted right after that. What had happened then? Something very ungood happened, is all I can say. I tried to remember, but it was like my mind was filled with fog. For now, I needed to figure out where I was. I took off the headgear and got out of bed. If that headgear is what I think it is, we are in some serious trouble here, adventurers. And it doesn't seem like we're in any condition to move, much less stand, and collapsed. This didn't make sense. Of course it doesn't. Was I just dizzy after all that was going on in my head? I tried to stand up again. Maybe we might have better luck the second time. Though something tells me that's not going to be so easy. And I couldn't get any strength into my legs. I kept standing up and falling over, and in the end, I was only able to get up by grabbing the side of the bed. Probably should have done that first. It's the only support we have, at least. How could standing on my own 2 feet be so exhausting? Was I sick with some terrible disease? And then maybe I've been in bed for several days. Something tells me that's not the case. We seem to have some form of mobility. I somehow managed to drag my weak legs to the door. It was bizarrely heavy. Or maybe it just seemed that way to me. It only opened after I put my full weight on it. The door was locked, but it seemed to be the kind that could only be opened from the inside. We appear to be in a very dark corridor. I walked down the dark hallway, leaning up against the wall for support. At the end of the hall were stairs. Where are we? And more importantly, when are we? I clung to the railing and slowly walked up them. At the end of the stairs, I found a hatch. Using the full strength of my back, I was just barely able to get it open. I was inside an old building. I walked down the crumbling hallway, still clueless as to what was going on, and finally found the door to the outside. Something tells me we're not going to like what we find, Rintaro. Exhausted, I staggered outside. And I saw. Oh dear. That's a very bad sign. Mountains of shattered rubble and desolation. We've seen this before.
なんだこれ
Rows of destroyed, abandoned buildings. Exposed, twisted steel girders. At first, I thought it was a movie set. But it was far too realistic for that. The walls, the windows, the ceilings, everything was destroyed. Little bits of rubble covered the ground. And at the top of the building was something rather ominous, but we couldn't get a good glimpse of it so far. There were cracks in the asphalt on the road, making it impossible to walk straight. And it wasn't just directly in front of me. I spun around a full 360 degrees and saw the same scene everywhere. I seem to recall in another worldline we shifted to the hell that was World War III. But something about this feels different from that particular experience. I smelled oil. I smelled something burning. We've seen desolation before, but never like this. I looked up to the sky. It was dark and gloomy. I thought it might just be cloudy, but something else seemed to be going on. I could see the hazy outline of the sun beyond the black curtain that covered the sky. Wait a minute. A violent pain in my throat made me cough. I quickly covered my mouth with the sleeve of my gown. My eyes stung. I tried once more to calm down and see if I could remember what happened, but I had no luck. That smug sky is another indication of when we might be. But if that's true, then something doesn't add up. Because Rintaro Okabe cannot possibly be when I'm thinking of. All I knew for sure was that there had been a worldline shift when I deleted Kurisu's memories from within Kagari. But that had a completely different outcome from what we expected. The memories held by the Amadeus Kurisu. And the memories implanted in Kagari Shina. Maybe when whoever owned them changed, that is, whoever held Kurisu's time machine theory, the world line changed with it. Yet another striking example of the butterfly effect, it seems. And a very terrifying one at that. And this was another altered world line, which meant what I was seeing was I saw what looked like an ash-covered stick poking out of the ground in the corner of my eye. I slowly went to take a closer look. It was sticking out of the rubble, and at the tip it split into 5 smaller branches. It was a hand. It was a human hand that had been scorched pitch black. Hate to break it to you, Rintaro, but this isn't the first time we've seen such a sight, at least for me, anyway. A terrible feeling came rising out of my stomach. Rintaro's constitution is unfortunately frail at this point. Suddenly I thought I saw something move. Someone was there. But where? I listened carefully to try and pick them out. Friend or foe? I've got a 50-50 chance, so to speak. If we can find this person, whoever they might be, we might finally get some answers. The other side of that big building, I could hear some kind of sound from over there. Was someone there? If there was, maybe they could tell me what the hell was going on. Trying my best not to make any sound, I peeked through the walls of the crumbling building. Unfortunately, Rintaro is dressed in nothing but a hospital gown, and it is incredibly cold. Probably need to seek some shelter at some point, although I don't think there's much shelter around. They were there alright. There were people there. Lots of them. But they weren't people anymore. They were just human-shaped wads of meat, piled up into a mountain. And on top of the mountain was a pack of dogs. That's bad. If all my time of playing Resident Evil has taught me anything, it's that a pack of dogs on top of a pile of corpses is a very ungood sign. Something long and slick were hanging up out of the dog's mouth. Speaking of hanging, we should probably not hang around here anymore. Intestines. They were eating them. And if those dogs happen to be Dobermans, that's bad news bears for us, because I'm not fond of Dobermans for obvious reasons. They were eating the bodies. The stench was horrible. The sound of the flies was overwhelming. It was like something out of hell. I'm afraid Vienna would actually be a haven, a paradise, more than this. This is worse than Vienna. My gaze met the vacant eyes of one of the bodies. One of its eyes fell out and black insects crawled out of the empty socket. Yeah, we're not doing too well. I ran away. I ran as fast as I could, stumbling forward on failing legs. But where can we possibly run to? Where in this ruination that once was Akihabara could be considered safe? Somewhere. Was there somewhere around here that was sane? But no matter how far I went, it was the same thing. Mountains of rubble. Rows of abandoned buildings. All I could see were the dead. There were no living humans. There was once the overpass, and then I found it. There were rows of huge buildings which all looked as if they were about to fall over. The roads were full of cracks. There was a warped overpass sticking out of the ground. A few rows of iron and railroad ties. I knew it. I knew this place. We've been by many times. We could never mistake it. It was only a shadow of its former self, but I knew it. This was Akihabara, which meant
ラボはどうなった？
It is a very good question. Where was Mayuri? Where was Daru? Where was Ferris? What about Rukiko or Suzaha? What happened to Maho and Kagari? Just as I ran toward the lab to find out. I heard footsteps behind me. I'm afraid to turn around, but I know that we must do so at some point. Well, this was certainly the most bizarre episode of Let's Play Steins Gate 0 so far, adventurers. But when we return, we shall muster up what failing courage we have, and meet whoever is behind us face to face with our own two eyes. As always, until next we meet.